A spirit of welcoming and settling, a gathering of this time, this place. A welcoming, and a settling of the heart, a settling of the body, a settling in the present place. The connecting, the reconnecting with a sense of well-wishing, a sense of welcoming, and a generosity of spirit. As we give attention, give life, receive life, receive sensitivity, receive the moment in a spirit of well-wishing and gathering of attention and goodwill. A sense of release of fears, worries, hopes, expectations, remorse, regret, in the giving of attention. Without hope or expectation of receiving anything, but receiving what's there. Noticing the silence and the space. Allowing the stillness to sensitize and welcome. reconnecting with life, recollecting the knowing, recollecting and reconnecting. Allowing this sense of full permission my breath received and released. Experience accepted without addition or complication, released. A delight in this present moment of appreciation, appreciation of life itself. In this knowing, this time, in this place, this here, this now. Alive, awake and alert. and welcoming. Welcoming the silence, the stillness, the space. The experience, and releasing expectation, hope and fear, regret, and this trusting of knowing a breath. The whole experience, and this knowing One of the questions that can be dropped into a moment is, what am I doing? What am I doing? What's the I doing? What's the bit that's I? What's the complication that I am making? What should I do? What shouldn't I do? What am I doing? As I came over from the main building, I asked the people in the room, "Should I take one?" And they said yes. And so this I took one, and that's the karma that was made. And karma from, should I take one? Doubt. Yes, and then I took one. This is karma on a very simple level. There's intention born of doubt. Try to solve the doubt, resolve it by following somebody's advice. Maybe trivial, but how many times do we follow that impulse of what should I do, or what am I doing? Why am I doing it? What is the impulse behind that action? And notice it, because we're all a little intrigued in some way, the idea of karma. And then we have the idea, well, what is my karma? And what should I do about my karma? And what karma should I do? And in the short, no response to that is that it's really difficult to work it out. If you think too much about it, if you think too much about karma, the Lord Buddha said your head would explode. So all the thinking and the trying to sort it out, what does that do? Me trying to solve my karma, I. And there are things that you can read about karma and the ideas of fixed karma and karma that is wholesome and skillful and mixed and wholesome and unwholesome. And all of the efforts that can be put into it. And it is an important aspect of causality. It is the power of humans. If you want to look at a power that humans have in much greater than any other being is karma. They have the whole thing that when that puts them in time and space, it gives them an idea of time and space, of cause and effect, and contemplating cause and effect in ways that other beings don't really bother with. Animals don't really concern themselves with their karma. They just get on with it. And, there's this thing about living in the present, because they don't really worry about consequences or have many regrets or worries, hopes or fears, except the instinctual ones. That, if one goes into the complications of karma, one can say, well, all of that's karma because it all comes from intention originally. But if the freedom of karma that humans have is what makes us in time and space and gives us an idea of this being somebody and having to do something and never really being sure whether it's the right thing or not. And there's conditioning through social conditioning of personality that is our karma. And if you want to know what your karma is, some people say, I don't know. I don't know whether it's true or not, but if you want to know what your karma is, then look at what you're doing now. Look at where you are now. Look at where you are now. If you want to know what your karma will be, look at what you're doing now. There's the difference. If you want to know what your karma was, then look at where you are now. And if you want to know what your karma will be, look at what you're doing now. Because that's the karma you're creating now. That's the I that you're creating now. So if you want to know what your karma will be, look at what you're doing now in the sense of I. That'll be your karma in the future, because that's what you're doing now, which will make your future. And we have this idea of future and past in ways that other beings don't really bother about. Now, if in the hell realms, it's all too painful. And you can't think of a way out of it. And you can't think that it's ever going to end. And in the Deva realms, it's just too much fun. It's always going to be this way. And then when it starts to smell and go off, do you think, oh, that's it. And the whole thing starts to collapse around it. But humans, they make this time and space as a way of dealing with experience. It's a simplification of experience. Because obviously time and space is a construct. It's not something out there, it's something that we experience in here. Weird, isn't it? Is there absolute time and space? Of course, we assume that there is because that's what makes life easier. And it's what gives us the whole perspective on karma. Because this is where we can meddle in time and space. We can meddle with and manipulate and create and destroy and work with the other aspects of causality. Causality of utu niyama, of the physical stuff, which was convenience. Things like the weather, magnetism, and all that sort of thing. Bija niyama, the way that the genetics work, the way that seeds work, the way that this business works. And chitta niyama, the way that we can work with the psychic power, the way that the heart can work, and the power of that, and the power of that conviction. It's an important niyama. That's one to investigate. What is happening in the heart? What are its assumptions? How does it work? How does it limit? And karma niyama, what we're doing to create time and space, and what are we doing in time and space? And where's the way out? Where's the way out? Because there's something that's happening. And how to deal with it. I'm somebody, I definitely need to do something. And I really don't know whether it's the right thing that I want to do or don't want to do, or whether I can do it or not. And maybe there's something wrong with me because I feel this. And maybe I don't even notice that this is what's going on, as I'm so deeply driven by wanting and not wanting and feeling overwhelmed or depressed or confused, just trying to survive. This is the karma that we are. This is the karma that we've had, have, and the karma that we're creating. And the sense of I in all of this, what I want, I don't want, what's in it for me, what's right for me. And how it shifts if there's a sense of, there are the consequences of skillful actions. There are things that I don't understand. There is something to be grateful for. There is a way out of it. But the relationship that is possible through all of this can be ennobling, can be worthwhile. But the thinking can be harmlessness, non-exploitation, non-indulgence. Harmlessness to oneself and to others. So careful about the harm that we cause ourselves through obsession with what I want or what I don't want. Let's try to see what the right thing is in a moment. The right communication. You know, they talk. We talk about the cause of stress, the cause of dukkha. Kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. Wanting to excite the senses in some way that's pleasurable, wanting to become something, or wanting to get rid of something. Certainly the wanting to become something is strong, and the wanting to get rid of something is strong, and the kama tanha is strong. This thirst, this compulsion, the whole tanha compulsion, because there's no freedom in it. It's just like driven. I'm careful also, because I sometimes add to this. It's extra, but it's this third step on the path. It's this communication. Communicate, connect. Miscommunication, not being clear in the communication, not being clear in how you talk to yourself, how you talk to others, how you communicate. Not deceiving, gossiping, backbiting. All of this, just, clarity of communication. Listening, a lot of communications about listening. Listening with an undistorted preconception. This communication is a connection. Connection. The other connection is careful about what one does with one's hands and feet and body, stealing, killing, sexual misconduct, all of that. Careful, what's the right thing to do here? As a mendicant, what's the right livelihood for mendicancy? So not manipulating or just taking for granted. Using the energy that's offered freely in ways that are supportive of what it's intended for. And basically, beings wish beings well. It's fundamental that life wishes itself well. And we find it much nicer if everybody's enlightened and everybody's kind. And remembering and reconnecting with that. If everybody's in there with a spirit of offering, a spirit of rejoicing in what they've received. And life is a gift. It depends on giving. It depends on generosity. It depends on kindness. It depends on wishing to relieve suffering, and it depends on joy. And it belongs to nature. this is how it works out. This is the unobstructed flow. It does mean going against the very strong compulsions. It does mean going against the flow of what I want, what I don't want, what I am confused about and don't understand. It means going against those really strong compulsions that are parcel of what it's taken to give us this opportunity. This is a desire body. It's not supposed to be different. It's a fear body. It's not supposed to be different. And thinking we should get rid of that is another complication. It's this way. But humans have a perspective on it. Humans have a perspective on this animal body. It's a body that's shared with all the animals. Not very different. But the opportunity to train the heart, to liberate the heart, to liberate the basic impulses of this, in a sense, heart, chitta. To free it from that which distorts, scatters, dissipates. Is the training that is offered. Again, it's offered. It's offered every moment. Every moment. Every place. Every time. Well, outside of time and outside of space. Because it's not bound. This is what we can figure out. Or this is the stopping. This is the attention. And if you want to know where you're going, notice what you're noticing. And noticing what you give attention to. Notice where you pay attention. Notice what you give your energy into. And if it's all around me and mine and I, it's always going to be disappointing. You can do the best you can in terms of what's the right thing to do. What's the thing that leads to peace? Not right in terms of wrong, but right in terms of most in harmony with that which leads to peace. Right in terms of in tune. What's a blessing and what's a curse? To give it the powerful beat or the powerful sound that I sometimes give it. Considering, is this moment a blessing or a curse? Is what is being thought, said, or done in this moment, is it a blessing or a curse? I'm strongly criticized for that, saying words like that. But it's a way of talking about, to shake it a bit and give you some, offer you some sense of way of getting some urgency into this. Because it's important. It is important. Because you don't know when you won't have this opportunity. You really, really, really don't know. And that's pretty scary. Pretty scary. Pretty scary. Because if you've the opportunity now, then you're incredibly fortunate. Because so many beings don't. And there's absolutely no way of forcing it. Insisting. Everybody should be enlightened. You can at least wish everybody be enlightened, but you can't force them to be. That's not going to work. You can offer opportunities. You can recognize the opportunities that this being has here and now, and a sense of gratitude for that. And that I do tend to dwell in, a sense of gratitude. Because I recognize I'm extremely fortunate. So I offer this for your consideration this evening out of a sense of gratitude. And if it's of any use, then by all means make use of it. But if it's not, then leave it behind. This is about what I can offer this evening. And there are so many resources and so many supports that are available here and now. And to reconnect yourself with the support that you offer yourself and the well-wishing you offer yourself and the well-wishing you offer others. You really would prefer everybody to be enlightened around you because it would make your life much easier. And it's true of us all. So that's probably enough for this evening. And if there are any questions, I'll try and see what I can do. Thank you. But if there are no questions, that's okay too. It's not, I don't want to insist. Oh. Speech is the most difficult one. I think for most of us, it's a difficult one. When we often, I can remember when I started years ago, I thought that it was, I wasn't too worried about my speech. But as time has gone on, it's been more and more clear that communication is such a source of suffering. It's such a way of adding to suffering, miscommunication. And how powerful it can be. And, there's the whole thing of lying and deceiving, and that's intentional. That's intentional. That's a whole business. And then there's the slight exaggerations and the gossiping and the frivolous and the slightly harsh or slightly flattering or slightly manipulative speech. And the way that we can deceive ourselves as we talk to ourselves and try to justify our actions to ourselves. There's nothing we can't, any action we find it quite easy to justify. If we think hard enough about it. You know, that's a whole area. I think just recognizing that it's difficult and acknowledging that and doing the best we can. I don't have a magic wand for that. Sometimes silence can be a whole passive-aggressive business. Sometimes silence can be quite pleasant. There's a time and place for things, and finding the right time and place, and being in touch with our intention, the sammasankappa, not to harm, not to exploit, not to indulge, doing the best we can. Non-communication. The origin of suffering. What is the origin of suffering? Avijja, ignorance, which manifests as tanha. That's the origin. Not knowing what's going on, we suffer. Not understanding the Four Noble Truths is the Four Noble Truths, they're actually immediate. To the degree that we understand suffering is the degree to which we abandon the cause, is the degree to which we realize the ending, is the degree to which we practice the path. It's now. It's not something in time. No, so not to worry about it too much. But asking the question's fine. It's just that when we don't understand what's going on, we suffer. That's the long and short of it. We think we need something, or we think we need to get rid of something. We think that we're here. We think that we own all of this. We think that it's all very important, and it is in some ways. But and that's the song. Samatha practice can lead to jhana, and from karma loka. Oh, yeah. Okay. Probably. It's the answer to that one. Samatha practice can lead to jhana. You've read the book, Karma, What You Don't Know About Jhana and Samadhi. You know Bhikkhu Kumara and his take on that. It's not that complicated. Don't make it more than it is. The way that the mind can be calmed, and this power that can come from that stillness is important. I'm not trying to knock it and say it's not necessary or anything like that. But I am trying to encourage an uncomplication of it. Concentration's about letting go. It's not about getting and gaining. It's about letting go of the hindrances and letting go and understanding. It's a continuity of attention that allows the steadiness and the stillness to understand what's thinking, and what's not thinking. The space around, between the silence and that which is not thinking. And it's not I that knows the not thinking. It's just not thinking. Yeah, thoughts are important. What you think is important, because how much you attach to them is important. And it is. So in yoga, when you're doing the yoga, to find a way of not attaching to thoughts, or being careful about what you think, and remember the impulse as to why you're doing the yoga. To think the thought clearly. The thoughts, to know what's thinking and what's not thinking is important, because one of the things that thinking can do is can direct karma. It can direct intention. So the thought of not harming yourself and harming others is an important thought to direct. No, I'm not doing this to harm myself. I'm doing this as a sense of because I wish myself well, and I wish the body well. And connecting with that, with the chanting that we do, with the recollections that we do, it's a way of. It is using thought. I'm not saying somehow thoughts are bad. I don't think Lumpur Sumedho is saying thoughts are bad, but understanding thoughts and the power of that, and that that's what mano is. Then the first verse of the Dhammapada is thinking and acting with an unwholesome mind. It's like, the results will follow like the heavy wheel of the ox cart, and think and acts with a. And the mano there is what humans do, is think and act with a kind thought or a skillful thought, and then the results follow like the shadow, light. Shadows don't weigh very much. It's they're not heavy to carry. They're not a great burden. So don't knock thinking. Just know what thinking is and what's not thinking. Can spirits and devas have an effect on a person's life in a bad way? Yes, they can. Sorry. So be careful. Protect your karma. Protect your sila. And don't go inviting devas to use you or anything like that. Don't invite anything to use you, good or bad. Don't say, may I be a vessel for something. Not safe. Not safe. Ask devas to protect, and ask the Buddha to, if you feel you're attacked, say to the things that are attacking you, your boss bows to my boss. Go and have a word with your boss, because your boss bows to my boss. That's the Atanyata Parita. That's what the Atanyata Parita, which is the protection chant that the Buddha recommended the monks learn. It's basically saying all the forces of the universe bow to the Lord Buddha. And so, and if your boss is the Lord Buddha, then their boss bows to your boss. So get out of my space. Did I skip the question from Nikki? Yes, if one encounters evil person with malicious intentions, what is skillful? Call the cops. Call the lawyers, and with the intention that they learn from their karma sooner rather than later. If they learn from this lifetime, then they don't have to worry about the next lifetime. So, yes, the karma will catch up with them eventually, but it's okay to call the cops. It's okay to call the lawyers. It's okay to see how, the conventional protection of society can work. Yeah, do call the cops. And it's a sense of giving them an opportunity to learn from their karma. And, as I say, a sense of, I want to protect myself and the opportunity that I have. other people's karma. Well, we can help them get over their bad karma. No, but it's not really our responsibility, and why people are the way they are is the way that they are. And but don't hesitate to use the law or whatever if you can. If you can't, then the karma will catch up eventually. And don't feel that everything's your karma, because it's not necessarily. Or anything's other people's karma, because it's more than that.